Hello Internet, welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with the word of the not so wise. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the AR-15. I've looked into other videos talking about building guns and so forth. I should be within YouTube's terms and conditions. I hope I'm not breaking any rules. But, I talk about doomsday prepping. Basic AR-15, pick one up for $500. This is the pistol version, and you've heard in the news a lot about the regulation of things like bump stocks. So this is a buffer spring. So that's what activates your recoil. So when you fire around, this comes back, ejects a round, goes back forward and reloads another round. And this is where your spring is. Now, on a regular AR-15, you'd have a butt stock here to put it to your shoulder. This isn't legal to have one because it's a shorter barrel. Now, this is the pistol version, which, I mean, it's very heavy, and you don't really have a lot of control with something this heavy at the end of your arm. So I've talked about wrist braces and how that's mimicking a butt stock, so on and so forth. I talked about the bump stock, where that's a stock that slides back and forth on this, and it's got a mechanism that comes down to here. You hold your finger against it, and then the kick kind of gives you a reload. So this is perfectly legal if you want to put this up against your shoulder. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you could do it. And, I talk about doomsday prepping and learning to work on things, like the deuce and a half, really easy to learn to work on. If you want to get into tinkering with something, this is something really, really good to learn on. They're very simple. They come apart. I mean, they're designed to come apart real easy. You have to take them apart to repair them in a potential firefight situation. Or of course they jam and you have to clean them. I'm not gonna get that far into it because there's way better videos with people that know just endless more than I do on the subject. But this whole thing comes apart and comes out. This is a dust shield. It comes out when you pull this back and see. So now I have no recoil action. It doesn't slide back because I took the buffer, or took the stock off that has the buffer tube on it. So real simple way to start learning how to work on stuff. So this is the trigger. This comes apart with these couple of pins right here. I just had it apart because I'd never actually taken one apart before I took the rest of it apart. But so inside there, this is your hammer. It comes down, and then the trigger catches it. Pull the trigger, fires forward. If you hold the trigger, this comes back, and it sticks. You have to release to reset it, and I'm holding it just to keep from damaging it. So that action right there is grabbed on this hook right there. And that's what keeps you from having a fully automatic illegal trigger assembly. So get you an AR-15. You can pick one up. I was just at the store the other day, and you can get a brand new Ruger or something for like $500-600. You can order all these parts. This is a lower, this is an upper. I believe, I don't know exactly the legalities of it, of course, but the part with the serial number is going to be this, because none of this matters without the lower right here. And this is, again, some legal controversy about people 3D printing the lower. Again, this is just hard plastic. Well, this one's probably, that's probably aluminum, but could make them out of plastic and they would work. So that's the controversy for you. They're really fun to shoot. Ammo used to be pretty cheap. Used to be about 22 to 28 cents a round. Now it's up towards 70 cents a round. The AK-47, again, really cheap gun, really reliable. Not a very accurate rifle, but you can throw a handful of gravel in them, not literally, and they'll still fire. You can still get a brick of those for 1,000 rounds for around, I think, $350 some odd. And I would actually really like an AK-47, but I haven't come across a good deal on one. So yeah, fun to shoot. Familiarize yourself with firearms. Again, this is for defense purposes only. I mean, in the news, you get people that have mental illnesses and they get their hands on these things, and it's not a very good deal. But you've, of course, heard the only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. learn to use them effectively. You know, some people think they need a $3,000 AR-15 with, and again, this is a stripped down model. I've got better ones that are dolled up with accessories and good scopes and magnifiers and all that good stuff, but you don't need a $3,000 AR-15. You need a $500 AR-15 and $2,000 worth of lessons on how to shoot them. Now, I don't have extensive weapons training. I've got some basics, enough to be able to effectively use it. But don't think because you pick one of these up, you're all of a sudden John Wick or Liam Neeson from Taken. That is just simply not how it works. There's muscle memory and training that is involved in effectively using one of these. Most people pick one of these up and they just scare me just even holding them. They don't understand, you know, the business end of the gun here. Don't point it in any direction where a bullet isn't safe going. Right now, I'd go into my TV and into my shop, even though no magazine, the breech is empty, but that doesn't matter because every gun is always loaded. Always treat them like they're loaded, keep them pointed in a safe direction. I actually wrote 10 commandments of gun safety that I'm going to make my sons memorize verbatim before they are allowed to own their own gun, you know, in their teens sometime. And I'd also recommend, if you're going to get a kid a gun, not a 22. It is a small caliber, but they are the most deadly because people don't treat them like a real gun. Also, that small bullet can enter ribs and it'll bounce off of another rib, and they do this zigzag pattern, making them extremely hard to find and cause a lot of internal damage. So be careful. This shoots a pretty small round. I don't have any in here, but if you're going to start your kid off with a gun, you know, small shotgun, 410, something they understand is a very dangerous gun. I think the first gun I owned was a 22, but I'd been shooting my parents' guns for a lot of years. And then my next gun was a 30-06 that I went and killed a bear with. My first big game animal. I think I was 14 or 15. It's a good hunting trip. Did it out in Prince William Sound, Alaska. It was pretty cool. So, you know, arm yourself, know how to use them. It is for defense purposes only. Like I talked about people panicking. Well, don't panic. You've got to stay calm. You're gonna, I mean, a lot of people have guns, but you still, in general, are going to have the upper hand. As an absolute last resort, remember, once a bullet leaves this thing, you can never take it back. You know, I mean, wherever that bullet's going, it's staying there. I mean, you hear some real horror stories about these things. So I would keep them stashed all over my property and all over my house, but I have children, so they stay locked in a safe. That is the only one, and it is unloaded, and it's, you know, out of their reach, and I'm back in my shop. They're never out here by themselves. So, and that's just kind of my film prop, but I might swap it out for one of my ARs because it looks kind of cool. So that's my 2 cents on the AR-15. There's a lot of different brands. You got Sig Sauer, which I love, Bushmaster. Ruger makes a good product that's affordable. You get into your higher end models and they start to get a little pricey. You know, parts are really interchangeable for these things. You can go buy a kit, put it together yourself, familiarize yourself with it, learn to work on it. It's a great entry level way to learn how mechanical things work. They're generally not rusty, so parts aren't welded together with corrosion. And like I just showed you, this popped apart with a couple of pins. So yeah, my 2 cents on the AR-15. It's a great gun, readily available. You know, if you're one of those anti-gun people, I mean, you know, people are generally nervous or afraid of things they don't understand or so forth. Well, get familiar with it. So I think that's all I got. Thank you for joining me. Have a good night.